Welcome back to the DLLS page. DLLS Wings podcast.
Slip of the tongue.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the DLLS Wings podcast. I am your host, Erica Lee Day, and I'm joined by my right hand woman of the day, Dorothy Gentry. Dorothy, how the heck are you on this fine Thursday afternoon?
I am back and I am doing well. It's hot. Dallas weather. Ugh. But I'm good. Hey, everybody.
I know you're not complaining to me about the heat, right?
Right.
Of all people, man.
Where's everybody?
Uh, I know. It is just me and Dorothy today, but I think you guys
Yeah.
can bear with us. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a really fun show. The
Ladies
mayor has
afternoon.
something fun. Exactly. I wish we had a little bit of beverageino, to enjoy over this yapping hour together, but unfortunately, it's just Dorothy and I and our words.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
welcome back to the show. If you're new here, drop a like, subscription to DLS Sports. They make some really cool content about the Cowboys, the Mavericks, us. Obviously, we're pretty cool. Then obviously the Rangers, the Stars. Do all the things while you're here. Give us a 5-star review wherever you get your
Yeah.
podcast. But Dorothy, last week, you weren't live with us, but I did watch your little recorded bit, and I heard you talk about how this stretch of games that the Wings was going to play this week is going to be tough. And I'm going to start with this win over New York because I want to start with some
Oh,
positivity.
yes.
And I can't help but just think it might be the only lick of positivity we get in on the pod today is just in this win over New York. The Wings did take a, I don't want to lie on the score,
No.
92-82 victory over the Liberty on Monday, July the
I
28th,
know.
just a few days ago. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a kind of an emphatic victory in a sense that they never, gave up the lead. Granted, it was a 30-point game at one point, and they did let it
Yeah.
slip in the fourth quarter to make it a
Down to about
close one.
6. Yeah.
But I mean, it did make I think Wings fans optimistic. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, the Liberty were shorthanded in a sense that Breonna Stewart wasn't playing, but I mean, Jonquel Jones was, and the Wings beat out the Liberty in points in the paint, which is
Yeah.
something that we on this show have kind of expressed has been a struggle for the Wings, considering they have had an issue maintaining a good big in the rotation. And so
Mhm.
it was a very optimistic win for the Wings.
It really was. It was electric, first of all, in the arena, at College Park Center, sold out crowd. But you said Stewie wasn't playing, but you're right. John Quell was. And the WNBA All Star 3-point winner was Sabrina Ionesco. And the Skills Challenge winner was Tosh Cloud, Izzy. So they had a full lineup still. Stewie was just one person. And they already had lost, I think the night before or a day before they came, so they were already on a losing streak post All Star, game. But yeah, it was an exciting game. Like you said, from the words say go, the Wings came out energy. I don't know if it was because it was the defending champs. I don't know if it was. I don't know what it was, but it was a different energy from the words say go. And then of course we know Erika, had her record setting, 14 franchise setting, 14 assists. She had 20 points. Of course, Paige was doing her thing as normal, and they came away with a surprising victory, a huge victory. As you said, it was even as high as 30 points at one point. And you were thinking Sabrina and others weren't on the floor, but they were. The Wings were just they were just efficient, totally.
It
But
brings
then,
me to a really great point that I want to make early in this episode because I think this strikes up a good point about the Wings that if they are the team that strikes first, they do have a
yeah,
chance against anyone in the league. And it doesn't matter if it's the reigning champions. It doesn't matter if it's the Lynx. It doesn't matter if it's the Phoenix Mercury, who we've also seen the Wings beat this year.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, the Lynx, they've been in some really competitive games with so far this season. So I think the Wings, excuse me, really need to get a hot start to their games. And
Every
if they can
game.
get started hot, then it becomes a lot easier to stay in the game. If they go down 10 early to the New York Liberty, it becomes a really difficult hole to dig yourself out of.
Right, playing from behind is never a good thing for I think for any team, especially the Wings though, because the ability to climb out of that, whatever that hole is, if it's 10 points, if it's 8 points, it's a little more difficult, a little more challenging because of the other challenges they already have on the court. So for them to come right out and strike first and keep it hot, I think that's where where their success lies.
For sure. And you already mentioned it, but Enrique's career high as well as franchise high, 14 assists. I mean, that's probably the biggest difference maker of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, is just the ball movement. And I mean, I saw a ton of people talking all over my timeline talking about it. That was probably the most ball movement we've seen from the Wings all season. And I should have got my guy, Stephen Pridgeon Garner, on this show today because that man loves a good number and a good
yeah,
stat. And he
yeah.
would tell us exactly how many passes were had in that game comparatively to the Wings. But I mean, by the eye test, they definitely were more connected than they have been in any other game thus far this season.
And they talked about that a little bit, excuse me, post game. But for sure, we saw Enrique and we saw Paige pretty much, on the same page. And it was funny after the game. Paige talked about it post game. She said that everybody's story needs to be about Enrique. She stood by her because even on this show, if you remember Miss Mayor Erica, we were talking about Enrique and it not being her team anymore. This is the very first show or so that we did. And what was up with Enrique? And I'm like, this is still, Enrique's team. But Paige, of course, has been carrying the load, but she stood by her. And Enrique has kind of turned things around since the All-Star break. She's found her shot. I think her struggles in the first part of the season is why we didn't see her as an All-Star this year, for sure, which was pretty weird. But I have some stats here over the last 2 games before the break. Enrique was like 3 for 22. Just it was bad. It was bad, as you know. And she's been the face of the Wings since she got here 7 years ago. But she these past couple of games, she's been doing her thing, averaging about 18 points or so and 6 assists. And again, Paige talked about she needed to be the story, of the night, Monday night. She talked about, how she's found her shot. They talked about how they've been intentional in trying to, understand each other because they pretty much are a two-headed leading team, leading players for them. The Wings have two leaders, two heads. And it says that she said we made it a point just to communicate with each other more, knowing that we're kind of two leads on this team and a lot of stuff goes through us. We have to be on the same page. So we've been really intentional. That intentionality that Enrique talked about Monday night has been showing. And I think that's been a huge part of the Wings' success.
Well, and I want to talk about something you just brought up, and it's that after the game, Paige was very explicit in saying that, these stories ought to be about Paige or about Enrique.
Hmm.
And I think, when the types of discussions that have been had and the discourse that had been had all
Hmm.
over my timeline about how Enrique was washed and this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
and all these egregious terms being flown
Yeah.
around about an all-star caliber player. And so for, Paige to come out and stand up for her veteran, I think speaks volumes as to, where the locker room is really at. I think,
Yeah.
the broad general population can draw assumptions. Listen, losing games sucks. Like the Phoenix Mercury just lost last night. You ask me why I'm in a bad mood. It stinks. But at the same time, they understand there's a bigger goal in mind, and that this year with Paige, although yes, they definitely want to go to the playoffs. They would love Paige to win Rookie of the Year. They would
Yeah.
love an opportunity to go on a run toward the end of the season. Dorothy and I were just talking about it. There's 16 games left in the season. They would love to win out. I assure you, there is nothing more than the Dallas Wings would love than to win out their last 16 games.
Right.
But there's also a reality to the sports business, and that this league is very, very tough right now. And so to come out and pull out a win versus a team like the New York Liberty, albeit even if they are injured and figuring things out and awaiting the winner of the Emma Mieseman sweepstakes, it's okay because the Dallas Wings were able to figure it out. And so I think, it I understand why people are definitely frustrated with where the Wings are at, but I
Hmm.
also think big picture, these wins that they are getting give us really good indications
Yeah,
of to how they can continue to win games. And
yeah,
these games that they're losing, and we're going to get into the Atlanta game here shortly, but I mean, they're by the wire 9 times out of 10. And so, you can't really be mad at it. The execution piece obviously is frustrating as a fan to sit by and watch, but
right.
right now, so they're starting JJ Quinn early, Haley Jones, who, let's be honest about Haley
Wow,
Jones here for a second.
wow.
Haley Jones is playing her rear end off, and she's been
Yes,
spending the last 2 years in Atlanta being misused by Tanisha
yes,
Wright. And so you have to give credit where credit is due, in
yes, for
that,
sure.
there are things going right for the Wings right now.
They really are. They really are. And you mentioned it a minute ago when you said figure it out. We've been saying figure it out this entire time since the season began. Coach has been saying we're going to figure it out. The players have been saying we're going to figure it out. The fans have been saying, when are you going to figure it out? And I think that it took longer than anybody anticipated, that anybody expected. And from a I don't know if you want to say inside or front row view or whatever that I have, I'm privileged to have, I see the Wings figuring it out. It took a long time. It may take not being making the playoffs again this year. You know, as a result, collateral damage, if you will. But I feel like the Wings are figuring it out. They are being intentional. And the locker room issue, as you mentioned, there is no issue in the locker room. You can tell that they're still together. Dejanay has been intentional about saying that we stay together in the locker room. Some of the other players have been saying that they have my back. They say keep shooting. It's okay. So I think that has helped the Wings to finally get to a point where, hey, maybe we can put some wins together. Maybe we are a little better than what we thought we were.
Well, and I want to have this conversation about the playoffs early in the episode because
Yeah.
we have been talking about it literally since the inception of this DLLS Wings podcast, and I would love nothing more for this team to go to the playoffs. And I'm looking at it right now. It looks like they're six,
See,
4, 5 games, 5.5 games out from the Valkyrie spot in eighth.
because they're in
And
11th. Well, out of the
yeah,
13 teams, they're 11th.
oh, yep. They're tied for 11th technically with the Sky right now, as it
Okay.
stands as of right this second.
Okay.
Um, and so they're five and a half games back, and they have 16 games left. I'm of the opinion that they don't. Last year we saw, I'm pretty sure the Atlanta Dream go to the playoffs, and they were like 18 and 17
And I
and
gotta remember. Yeah.
21. So they don't necessarily have to be 500 to inch their way into the playoffs. They just have to string together some good wins against decent teams here at the end of their schedule. I was talking about it with Dorothy. The end of their schedule is not exactly a cakewalk, no walk in the park for the Dallas Wings to end the season.
Oh.
But that being said, when they're starting to figure it out and it's looking better as it
Yeah.
has been, it makes me optimistic that they can take the high road here, string together 5 to 10 wins through these last 16 games, and either A, make that last and eighth playoff spot, or B, really screw some other teams out of a playoff spot,
Right.
which as a Phoenix Mercury fan would make me overjoyed.
They can play the game, the role of spoiler for sure. Most definitely. Okay, well, we didn't make the playoffs, so neither are you. Kind of a thing. And I've seen that happen before as well. I think that the frustration as they figure it out, as they play some great basketball, is that the consistency is still not quite there. It's like, oh my gosh, Monday gangbusters. Last night they played a pretty good game, but just weren't able to close it out. If Nas hadn't hit that shot, hey, you never know. If Paige had made that shot, hey, you never know. So they could definitely. I mean, playoffs. I don't. If they win one more game, they have matched the number of games that was won all of last year, and they still have 16, 15 games left after that. So, there's a possibility. That's the beauty of the W and the schedule and the amount of games they play, that you could eke into the playoffs with 19 wins, 20 wins. That's a possibility. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Would you
I don't
would you
know.
rather them see them put them in a position to get Lauren Betts than win out and go in the 8th spot in the playoffs? If you are Kurt Miller today, what are you deciding to do?
Go with the team you have. Well, we'll talk in a minute about that they've let Grace go and Maddie coming back and all that. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I think they have the weapons. On our very first show, I said Maddie was the X factor, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit later, but she's coming back tomorrow. I think they have the weapons. I think that they are figuring it out. Now, defensively, there's still some struggles there. I don't know, we'll talk about that as well, but offensively, they're doing very well. They have a killer starting lineup right now. If I were Kurt, I would trust what I already have. I would trust the roster I have, trust the coaches that I've bought in. I'm sure we'll talk about that as well, and see if the Wings can't find some consistency and create some wins, to string together a few wins to be able to try to eke into the playoffs. If not that, go ahead and play spoiler.
I don't know. I think they're in a fun position right now to where,
Mhm,
Wings fans can't really be super disappointed at the outcome. I think it
mhm.
stinks that if they did decide in theory, and I think teams that decide to tank are not that fun in the first place, but
Yeah,
I think it stinks that if they did decide to tank, it takes into account last year's record. I think the WNBA, new CBA, definitely needs to address that. I think it's kind of silly, if we're being honest here, that it takes 2 seasons into account because certain teams can look entirely different
yeah,
after an off season, and I mean, I see it here in Phoenix. I mean, 11 of the 13 people on the roster right now are brand new to Phoenix or
right.
are revisiting after being here 5 years ago. So, it
Same for the
just I think it's a
Wings.
little, yeah, it's not right. It's just not right, and so, I do before our ad break, I do wanna have a conversation about the game versus Atlanta. And you were at both of these games, right, Dorothy?
Yes.
She doesn't sound so satisfied about being there
Yeah.
for the Dallas game, for the Atlanta game. So give us the vibe for the Atlanta game
It
yesterday.
was a good game. I mean, it was a good game. It was going pretty well. I'm still trying to figure out what had happened with BG. She ended up getting tossed out, but um that was a heartbreaking loss because they were tied. Erika again with her heroics at the very end. She shot a bucket, tied the game, and then here comes Naz Hillman and drops a three and ends up, you know, they had one more chance, but the bucket didn't go in. I believe, it went to Paige and it didn't go in. But it was a heartbreaking loss, if you want to call it that, especially after coming off of Monday's win. Um, you mentioned I want to quickly go back to what you mentioned on as far as tanking. I don't see the Wings. I would hope not even considering that because
Kurt
they
Miller
still
doesn't
have.
strike me as an executive that chooses to lose. Kurt likes
I agree with
winning,
that.
and I would not peg him to be the type of guy to
Yeah,
decide that we're
yeah,
gonna lose basketball games. So
yeah, yeah. This
yeah.
Um, yeah, but as far as last night, they were playing great ball. They held the Dream scoreless. Halfway. Through the second quarter, they were playing fantastic basketball. Zia James and her jump shot. You have JJ Quinterly, um, and fourth quarter is kind of when it got away from them. Fourth quarter is when it got away from the Wings. Dejanay, Lee, and Hines, they had 13 points, and the Dallas bench, they outscored Atlanta's in the third quarter. But the fourth quarter is when the dream came out and they just kind of ran gangbusters a little bit. Uh, they won, what, 26 to 21 in that fourth quarter. So,
Yep.
um, they were about what 50% from the floor, 50% from 3-point range, and 75% at the free throw line. And the Wings, they finished one shy of their season high in 3-pointers. So Louisa has been wonderful. 13 points she had last night. Jones with 12. But it just was one of those turn of events. Nash just sank the 3-pointer. She had like 5 last night with like what 2 seconds remaining, and they basically stole it. They basically stole it.
Well, and I do want to point to something that makes me really, really optimistic for what's to come for the Wings. And
Yeah.
it's the combination of Louisa and Maddie, which I
Louisa,
don't feel
yes.
I Louisa has been Maddie, you're correct. Maddie is the X factor for this team. Do not
Mhm.
get me wrong. But
Yes.
in combination with Louisa, the team looks
Yes,
entirely different.
I agree.
And I hate to bring in my pro spacer talk into the DLLS pods as well, but the spacing is going to be so much better because you have to respect both of their shots. And I mean, almost anyone else you put on the floor with them, you do have to guard them in some capacity.
Yeah,
The Wings have proven to be a team that can shoot the basketball. So I mean, at the end of the day, like I believe that Maddie coming back could be the plug that they need to kind of
right.
get themselves in a position to be able to string some wins together through these last 16 games.
That's exactly what I was saying as well. And I did mention Maddie Way when we first started the season before she got hurt. I was like, she is key to this Mavs team. And then, of course, she gets hurt and then is out, a month and a half. But Luisa is a triple threat, scoring, assists, rebounding. She can do it on both ends of the floor, inside out. All
Yep.
she does it all, Luisa. And then if she wasn't out during EuroBasket time, we may have a different rings record. If
Totally
she had
agreed.
been here, because she's been a monster at the center position, and then she has that physicality. I don't know if you've seen her in person, but she has the size as well as her physical play. So, um, she's good. She's a triple threat that the Wings needed. The announcers even calling her Louisa for Theresa. That's a new nickname because she's just dropping those threes. So again, the triple threat of points, assists, rebounds, she can do it all. Physical as well. Guard the basket, everything. So yeah, I could see
Well,
Maddie and Louisa being a huge threat.
and the Wings right now are leading the league in rebounds per game with 36 and a half, which
Mhm.
when you add Maddie back into that mix, now you
Yeah.
have a guard that can rebound the heck out of basketball. So I think, you're creating possessions out of thin air when you're going out and getting all those rebounds. And so
Yeah.
I think them right now is
Second.
really the Wings are in a good spot. I know that the 8-20 record is a little ugly, and
Right.
to your point, it could look a whole lot different if Eurobasket never happened in the first place. But at the same time, you have to be kind of optimistic considering the Eurobasket break went the way it did, and they're still
Right.
almost about to tie their wins from last season.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I don't know. I still feel like the Wings. Okay, I don't want to see too many comments on this part, but the Wings are still in it. Yeah. Again, the 8-20 record is not showing the improvement of the team, the heart of this team, the want to of this team. Um, I think with Maddie back tomorrow, I think with the intentionality of Erika and Paige, making sure they're on the same page to lead this squad, I think maybe with Dejanay, she's the spark off the bench, but if she returns to the starting lineup, I think if they find their way defensively, because they're still not playing good defense right now. Um, Offensively, they've improved, but defensively, they still need a little help. If they can just tweak some things here and there, you don't know. I mean, the Wings maybe could get into the playoffs. They really could. Yeah, those are my
So I'm
thoughts right
just
now.
I was trying to see how many points the win or
Yes.
the Dream and the New York average, because I do believe that at the bare minimum, even though they lost to the Dream, I do believe they held them below their season average,
Yeah, let me.
which when you're The Dream is a really good team. They're
Yeah, they
full of
are.
shooters, even without
Mhm.
Ryan Howard and Jordan Canada.
Right.
Everyone on their team can shoot the heck out of a basketball. And
Yes.
Naz Hillman is probably, as it stands right now, a lock for sixth player of the year, if not maybe even most improved player of the year, maybe
Mhm.
even both if the stars aligned the right way for her. So I think this win, when you, or this loss to Atlanta, when you contextualize it in that way, it
Yes.
doesn't feel so bad, but when you think about the way it rolled off of the New York win, it definitely stings a lot more.
Exactly, and that's what people are looking at. That's what the fans are looking at. But you just beat Monday night. You just beat the defending champs. What happened? Kind of a thing. So yeah, but in the totality, you can see the fans are. But when you just think about last night's game by itself, it's a little different. They put up a fight, and a miss three here, a made three there. It's a different story today.
The other thing is I had to bring up BG's screen on Paige. Did you see BG laughing in the same way I saw her? Because that was the funniest thing of the night.
I think I missed that.
Oh man, that stinks. And BG didn't do anything too crazy to get thrown out of the game. She
Just
just bumped the ref.
just going,
She
yeah. But
she was
she
talking to the ref. The ref was trying to walk away, and she was following the ref. Came a little close. The ref
she's
didn't like it and
imposing.
booted her. And I feel kind of bad for her because how can you not tower over somebody? You're Brittany
She's in
Griner.
right. It's like she's imposing the size exactly. So it's a little quote unquote scarier than I think it was intended. So
I
he was
just,
out of
after
there.
being around BG as much as I have been, I've never felt less scared around a gigantic person
Right.
in my entire life. She is a gigantic teddy bear, so I
I
had to
agree.
laugh when she screens Paige. Paige goes flailing in the wind, and then BG's just laughing her rear end off up the court. It was so funny to me. I love that the league as a whole has really accepted Paige for exactly the way she is and loved on
Yes.
her, and it's
Yeah.
it's just been a real joy to see.
Yeah. Paige is definitely she's so down to earth. I mean, she's not the star, quote unquote, that you think she is, but she is a star, a superstar already. And she's like, whatever. She just has this laid back attitude I think is so awesome. And it encourages fans to embrace her. Like you said, the fans and the league embrace her for just being who she is. She's just Paige Becker. It's like whatever. And she's awesome.
Oh, Dorothy, before we go to the break, I do want to ask you because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about All Star. How did you feel about the All Star game?
That was fun. I mean, I didn't go, but I watched it obviously. I
Did you
enjoyed
have
it.
the same complaints about the lack of defense that I'm hearing from other folks, or do you think it was exciting that they just went out and did their thing?
I think it was fun. Just went out and did their thing. I think it was fine. I mean, you're always gonna have those who say, I don't want a real game, but they're gonna hurt themselves. They're not gonna go out there, for fun, for charity or whatever, or even for their own pockets and hurt themselves. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed the Friday night challenge. I think that has come up some. I'm so glad they've added that and the way that they've made that more exciting. The competition and the skills challenge and the 3 point. I enjoyed the whole weekend. It was fun. And oh my gosh, Courtney and Natasha Heidelman, the stud buzz. Oh wow, they saved All Star Weekend. That was hilarious. That whole 72 hour, that was hilarious. The parts I
I
saw.
think they may have saved the entire league with that stream.
Yeah. And
I mean, you got
Kathy
Kathy
dance,
dancing,
yes.
right? That's
I was like, wait a minute. To not give you buck or something. I'm like, go, Kathy.
yeah, it was. It was so funny. I'm
Yeah.
like, Kathy, can you at least make it a little more respectable? Come on now, girl. And then I
But
saw the tweets after of everybody being like, "Just a reminder that she is not your friend." And I'm
right.
like, "Okay, not not too
Enemy.
much on our
You're
girl,
dancing. You're dancing with the enemy, not with the stars. So,
She
but
can catch
yeah,
the smoke from me anytime, but y'all have to report to her face to face. I don't know how much I would be trying to get smoke with the commissioner if I was a WNBA player."
I know, but it was
Um,
fun. I enjoyed it. So,
I thought it was a great game, and
yeah.
personally, I understand the gripes about defense, but
Yeah.
I think it's always a lot of fun when you get to watch them go out there and
Yeah.
just play ball, and then you get
Yeah.
fun storylines like Skylar getting the first triple double in All-Star
Yes.
history, and
Yes.
so I thought it was fun. I do think we were still robbed. I think next season, I'm gonna be honest, if we don't get like a whole freshman, sophomore type of game, I'm calling the WNBA front office and I'm gonna file a complaint. I'm
Really?
that It's just disorderly at this point. I mean,
Uh-huh.
the amount of money that they could be making off of
Yeah.
an extra game over the weekend, and honestly, add it to the night of the skills contest. Do the little skills contest because I mean,
Like a
how often
Rising
do rookies?
Stars?
Yes,
Kind of like the NBA?
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And I'm not trying to say we should be like the NBA. I don't really mess with the MNBA like that, but
Uh-huh.
I think it's a lot of fun.
But I enjoyed
So
seeing the rookies on the actual,
no,
all-star
and I think
roster.
they can still be on the all-star teams. I
Oh,
just
okay.
think that there could be an additional level to this that
Mhm.
they're missing out on. They're missing
Mhm.
out on extra money. They're missing out on extra conversation pieces about
Yeah,
this
yeah,
rookie. And I think
yeah.
when we look back on these in 10 years and we're making the Caitlin Clark and the Paige Bueckers documentaries, which are inevitable, let's be honest. I think we're going to look back and be like, dang, I wish we would have had the sophomore rookie game. And granted,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have worked out super well because Caitlin didn't play, but you
Right.
know, crap happens.
Yeah.
I think it would have been fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kathy, call me up. I got plenty of good ideas. More where
Lots of
that came
ideas.
from.
The mayor has a lot of ideas. So
Yeah. Well, more on my good ideas for the Wings to win some basketball games. And plus, we got to take some time to address the super chats after this quick break here on the DLLS Wings podcast. I should have grabbed my Brandon Bills because it would have made everybody really mad because I have a Phoenix Suns Brandon Bill. I have a Arizona Wildcats Brandon Bill. I even have some Sun Devil Brandon Bills that I keep on deck just in case I run into the Sun Devil fans around town. But Brandon Bill's got you covered whether you're in Texas, Tucson, like I am, or in Dallas. It doesn't matter where you are. They've got you covered. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, or beanies, or T-shirts, even Brandon Bills has got you covered with performance and styles. Looking for some gear to make your brand stand out from the crowd? Brandon Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. No, genuinely, best custom headwear in the game. It's the only hats I wear. They don't make my head sweat. I know Kevin and Damon on my other show, they love those hats, and I know they wear a hat every single day, and it's almost always 5 days a week, Brandon Bills. So you got to get tapped in with Brandon Bills. They have partnerships with over 40 colleges as part of their campus collection, including TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. So if you're on the Olivia Miles bandwagon, you're gonna have to head over to Brandon Bills and get your TCU hat now before it's too late. Head to brandonbills.com and use code BBDLLS for 15% off your first order. Dang, what a good deal. I'm kind of jealous. Um, our other friends over at Monarch Money. Dorothy, do you know how hard it is these days to keep track of your money? I know that, and this
yes.
is going to sound like an old joke, but I know y'all were raised in the days of a checkbook, and I have never
Yes.
even opened one of those bad boys.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
The only time I ever did a checkbook was at the Children's Museum when they like teach you how to write check. What a useless thing that was for me to be doing. Uh, But finances can be messy and confusing. Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing your money. It's more than just your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for all of your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money, start building your wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners. Um, I actually use Monarch Money, and I was just talking about this the other day. How expensive it is to be a women's basketball fan because you have to have League Pass. I have to have Mercury Plus. You
Right.
have to have YouTube TV. All of my streaming services, frankly, got out of hand. I used Monarch Money. They found out I was paying for subscription services that I did not need anymore, and that I was
Mm.
paying for the WNBA League Pass twice in
Oh,
2 different
no.
places.
Oh,
I know.
no.
It's a crime. So you got to hop on the Monarch Money just like me. It's a finance tool that people actually love. They're on over 1 million households, named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DLLS. Whew,
Go girl.
I told you the weather was getting me. But we got to take a moment to get to these super chats. I'm going to open them on my computer so I don't have to read really tiny text on my
I'm looking.
screen because Eliza likes to clip it when I do that. And I don't really appreciate that. So we're going to start with number one, Classic Stan Lover. Can we, one, admit this season is over and sell players on expiring contracts and rebuild? You know what the funniest part about this comment is, Dorothy? Is yesterday on my PHNX Mercury podcast, we were talking about the possibility that Kalani Brown could actually get traded for the Mercury. And I know as Wings fan, that actually might be traumatizing for you to hear. And I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
But one of the comments asked if we should trade Louisa for Kalani.
Woo! Wow.
And I was like,
No.
I said, I would say yes, but if Kurt Miller executed that trade, that would be grounds for a firing, relocation of the team. I don't
Yeah,
know,
Louis.
blowing up American Airlines Center. Like, if y'all
She
trade Louisa
no,
away, oh my gosh.
no.
So I understand where
She's
everybody's coming from and why you're so butthurt about where the season is at. Losing sucks, okay? It's
it
not fun,
does.
but I think it's okay.
I do too. And I was looking at the super chat as well. Thank you so much for your comment. Um, I'm not ready to admit the season is over. It's over. I don't think it is. Somebody else said this is not an 8-20 team. And you're right. You've already mentioned it, Erica, that the record isn't showing the strength and the talent of this team, and they're just now beginning to slightly turn the corner, slightly turn the page. We got 16 games left. Anything can happen. Again, we could eke into the playoffs with 18 wins, 19 wins, or we could play the role of spoiler and prepare for next season. Maybe a couple of tweaks here and there on the roster, but I think the talent is here. I think the opportunity is here. We just have to seize it. And games like last night need to be won.
I'm dying at someone saying that that would be the equivalent of the Luca trade in the WNBA.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, because Louisa has endeared herself. Don't. Yeah, don't.
Oh man, that actually made me laugh out loud. Ugh. And then number two from Classic Stang Lover, shout out to you for always coming in hot with all these 499 super chats. Number two, admit that CK is a bad coach, not because of the record, but because of bad decisions and trying to be friends and not their coach.
Mm. I'll tell you where I stand because I've been covering the Wings the 10 years they've been here in Arlington/Dallas. They've had, what, 5, 6 coaches in that 10-year span? It's not always the coach. Now, let's talk about Coach Koclanes. Um, yeah, things aren't going the way I'm sure that he envisioned. This is his first head coaching job. He's a defensive minded coach coming from Connecticut, where they had a lot of success, defensively. He was a defensive coordinator there. Um, he has the talent. The adjustments aren't quite being made when adjustments need to be made. I'm going to say that. If they were 20-8, would we be having the same conversation? I think losing and a record like an 8-20 makes you think, okay, the coach, let him go. But if it was 20-8, would it still be, the coach, let him go? The coach is always the first one to get it, quote unquote. Now, as far as trying to be their friends, I don't know that. I'm not privy to that. I do think some adjustments could be made that haven't been made. He is still learning on the fly. I'm a grace giver kind of a person, but it's not always the coach. I felt like Coach LT, who's now an assistant back with the Sparks, Latricia Trammell, she was gone after a year or two. It's like, okay, wait a minute, you just got here. Brian, there's been so many. We've had 5 or 6 coaches in as many years, so you have to give people time. You have to give people time, and 2 months is not time. I understand the frustration. We had the number 1 pick. I understand the expectations that were there, but I'm just not ready to throw coaches, any coach, not just Coach Koclanes, but any coach under the bus necessarily because of a record. Now, if there's something else that's glaring that I'm missing, I'm open to that. But you're asking my opinion, and I just think, I don't know, bad decisions. I think adjustments again haven't been made. Why there wasn't a larger lineup at the last end of the game last night, I don't know. I feel like there should have been more size out there those last couple of minutes. That wasn't made. But as far as again the personal part, trying to be a friend and all that kind of stuff, I don't really know. But they need
I'll be
time.
honest. from my perspective, and
Mhm.
I'm coming in from a very unique perspective because
Mhm.
we've had Nate Tibbetts here in Phoenix for the last, this is his second season here, and he had rightfully a lot of critiques when he first got here. He never coached women, only coached in
Yeah.
the NBA, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's turned around for him. And I think, when he comes in and he has to coach the likes of Diana Taurasi,
Mm.
Brittany Griner, and
Yeah.
Kalia Copper, who are three of the largest personalities in women's basketball, it is a lot to try to mesh those personalities together. And so, in a similar sense, Chris Koclanes has come here with Paige Bueckers, who isn't a superstar in a sense that she's a diva, but she is a
Right.
superstar. And
Right.
then you've got Erika, who similarly is a more, shelled, quiet superstar.
Mhm.
Louisa, who also, in my opinion, is a superstar in the making. And then on top of it, you've got Maddie Segrist, who's coming off of a winning season in Athletes Unlimited.
Right.
So, you
Exactly.
know, I think you've got a lot of star power here on this team. It's a lot to manage. They had a lot of injuries. Paige Beckers and I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, patellar tendonitis, is that it? Did I get it right?
For Paige?
Yeah.
Yes. Enrique had an
Period. That was
injured
off the
thumb.
top of my freaking head.
Enrique
Patella tendonitis.
had
And
her thumb injury. Maddie's been out. We lost Ty for the whole year. And remember,
and
guys,
I thought
on
Ty
this
Harris was going to be the primary ball handler of the entire
exactly.
season.
And
And
she's
so
yeah.
yeah, it's
And
just been a lot of adversity.
on the roster, only 3 people were returners. So again, I feel I think that Coach Koclanes has not been given enough time. His head is probably spinning. I know it is right now. So I don't know what happens after this season, but I'm like, guys, you got to give people a chance. To
I don't know. I'm of the opinion that Kurt is not one of those types of guys that does things out of emotionally based decisions. And so
right.
I think Kurt has been thinking about the outcome of this season since this before the even season even started.
I can see
And
that.
I think it's great that there's a coach in an executive's position because he totally
Yeah.
understands where he's at right now, and then he also understands where Chris Koclanis is at. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think the Wings are in an excellent position for their future, and I think
I
that's
do too.
important. I think unfortunately for the Wings, CK was brought in at a time where expectations were sky high. And
Right.
to a lot of your guys' season long points, like Dallas basketball fans were just in a really crappy spot when he got here. And so when he gets
Pissed
here,
off
the
about Luca.
expectations aren't right. And so, he comes in here cleaning up the mess of everybody. And he he kind of got served a shit sandwich, for lack of a better term, and he had to make do with what he had. And so I'm gonna finish out these super chats real quick because I know
Okay.
that
Okay.
Classic Stang Lover sent in another for $1.99 positive love to fight, and I'm pretty sure there's two more about Louisa, and that's what I'm trying to scroll and find.
Louisa for the
Uh,
win today.
Louisa is everywhere, as she should be. Oh yeah, yep. See, oh, I'm sorry, three more from Class of Staying Lover. Louisa is my fave now because she consistently moves and sets picks. She can shift energy to
Yep.
defense and then back to offense. Period.
Mhm.
Period. Period. I always talk about one of
Both
my biggest
ends.
pet peeves in basketball is when players on offense, even if they don't have the ball, are just standing and
Just
staring at the ball. Like, you're not actually going to get open. Nothing is going to happen for the player that has the ball because you're actually just standing and staring. And so no screens are being set, no passes are being made. We're all just standing around. And the Spider-Man meme where everybody's just pointing at each other? That's what it feels like to me when I'm watching that. And I'm
yeah.
like, I'm doing as much to win the game as you are right now because we're all just standing around and
Right.
staring at each other.
Watching. Yeah. But
Yes.
no, she's on both ends of the floor for sure. She can do it. Yeah.
And then two more. Luisa, or he says, this is not an 8-20 team, but we are still here. And
Yeah.
then if Luisa goes, I go. Just got my LG jersey.
Wow.
Period. That's
Wow.
dedication.
That's awesome. Yeah, Luis is definitely winning fans right now. Again, she's a triple threat. She's big for the no pun intended because her size as well as her physicality has been huge for the Wings. Her scoring, her rebounding, her assisting. Yeah, the setting the screens, facing the floor, all of that. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit of a preview ahead of this game tomorrow. And, the Wings are in a good spot, I think, for this game. Caitlin's not playing. I think
Whew.
the Fever are coming off of a
Another
win,
win.
a win over my Phoenix Mercury team that should just not have been had, but
Their
nonetheless, it's
third
fine.
straight. Their third straight. That Fever roster, that bench is something else. But go ahead. Their depth.
No,
Their depth.
well, and I was actually going to start by talking about Aaron McDonald because Aaron McDonald went off for 27 points last night. And I think when you've got a player that's as explosive as Ari can
Harry.
be, and you get her in a system where she can truly be comfortable, which I think
Yeah.
that's where she's at now, she is a dangerous freaking player. And
Yes.
so while I do think I am optimistic for where the Wings are at heading into this game, I think there are a few things that I think the Wings need to do to be able to win this game. First and foremost is get off to a hot start like they did versus New York. I
Yes.
don't necessarily need you to have a 30-point uh you know margin over them at halftime, but can we get 5 points, 10 points up over this team at halftime? And then I think you're positioning yourself very well for the second half. Number two, and I think the Wings are going to be able to do this, is win the rebound margin and get Aaliyah Boston in foul trouble. I think if they can get Aaliyah Boston in foul trouble and force Natasha Howard to be the one that beats them on the inside, on inside the post, I think the Wings have a better chance to win this game. I think Kelsey Mitchell is another on the ball threat that they have to worry about,
About to
obviously.
say
So you
Kelsey.
have to have Dejanay and your primary on ball defenders in a good headspace ahead of this game because between Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald, you have your freaking hands full, and they don't exactly make life any easier for you on the defensive end either. So
That
I think it's going to be a good game tomorrow. It's
yeah.
in Dallas, right? Yeah, it is.
AAC. AAC again. They gave it a month, hoping that Caitlin would be okay. And man, we can't catch a break because she's out more than likely again. I mean, it's not official yet, but they gave the report a week or so ago and said she's concentrating on her health right now. But with her still out there on a 3-game win streak. And so it's just showing the depth of Indiana's roster. And you made all the points you made are true. You got Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, and you do have to contain them for sure. Defensively, the Wings still aren't doing their best. Offensively, especially with that starting lineup, they're improving offensively big time. Dejanay coming off the bench, she's been providing a spark, but maybe you can make an adjustment and bring her back into the starting lineup. To kind of, I don't know if that would mess up the rhythm that's been, that we've had so far with the starting five, offensively, but some kind of way the defense has to get going for this Wings team, especially since that's what coach is always saying that, our defense needs to step up. The centers aren't really doing too much defensively. The guards aren't doing too much defensively. So that's where some room for improvement stands. You're right. They need to come out because the last time they played the Fever at AAC, we were blown away like immediately. So they need to come in, like you said, tomorrow night and just, throw the first punch, set the tone.
I was just looking at the schedule and it actually just made my already not so hot mood even worse because,
See,
the Wings get to play the Fever tomorrow and albeit a shorthanded Fever, still the freaking Indiana Fever. Let's keep one thing a buck
yeah,
here. But then on Tuesday, their next game, they might be the first victims of the Emma Mieseman sweepstakes winner, the New York Liberty. That's horrible. And I would hate that.
right.
Man, the lick back game that's going to be is just, that's terrifying for the
Lick
Wings. If
back.
I'm the Wings, I'm calling sick. If I'm Dejanay, Paige, Enrique, I'm sorry. I actually had to get my tonsils out today. I
Did
cannot make it versus Emma Mieseman. I'm so sorry.
you say lick back? That's funny. I'm sorry. You threw me on that one. Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
exactly what it's going to be then. And then on top of it, you got superstar reincarnate Jesus over here, Emma Mieseman, to throw basketballs at your forehead. It's just going to be an unfun game if you're a Wings fan. So
Back, and it's like in a row. It's Tuesday and Friday. So they play the Liberty Tuesday and Friday.
I don't
Not
like
back to
that.
back, but yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. Real
I've been
interesting.
talking about how the Phoenix Mercury are the losers of the Emma Meeseman sweepstakes. This is how I found out that the Dallas Wings are actually the losers of the Emma Meeseman sweepstakes, and they weren't even in the running to get her.
Right. Right.
Man,
Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the schedule as well. Yeah, and I see Sparks a couple of times, like you said on here, as well as the Storm and the Aces. And so, yeah, it's going to be the old Lynx again. So, yeah, the remaining 16 games, the remaining 15 games, not counting tomorrow night, are going to be interesting. But again, the Wings can either try to creep in, string some wins together, or play the role of spoiler, miss the playoffs, but mess up somebody else's chances as well. Make some tweaks in the off season and go forward.
well, I want to do a little preview for the next week because we won't be back together till next Thursday, and I hope you'll be present for that show. Everyone keeps blowing me off. First it was you and KG, now it's Bobby and KG. Everyone's
Sorry.
telling me you're on your own. I'm like, dang guys, am I that bad? Just tell me if you don't like me. You can just DM
Oh,
me, let me know, and we can
love,
work it out.
love you, Mayor.
You too, Dorothy. But I want to talk. Let's just talk
Mhm.
about Friday and Tuesday for now, and then we're going to
Okay.
go through the rest of the schedule and do a little
Okay.
record
See.
prediction. Does that sound like a
Okay. I'm
solid
pull
way
it
to
up.
close this all out?
Schedule.
So they're obviously going to start tomorrow at home versus the Indiana Fever.
Mhm.
Are the Dallas Wings going to take the win tomorrow in American Airlines Center?
Are they or should they? Because that's two different questions. Okay. I said they were going to the first game in AAC and they did not. So I'm still going to say tomorrow they take the win tomorrow night and they break the Fever's 3-game win streak.
Oh, I gotta get these super chats in here before we go through the
Oh,
rest of
okay.
these because Classic Stang Lover came through with a few more, and I think one of them is very relevant to save our rear ends as well as Classic Stang Lover's rear end. We don't want the players coming in here and getting mad at Classic Stang Lover. That doesn't sound fair.
Okay.
So I love Louisa. She's my favorite, but can we talk about the Tommy Pickle shorts? LMAO. I'm actually a little confused. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but we're going to skip to the
Hmm.
next super chat from
Okay.
Classic Stang Lover where he says, and if any players listen and I say anything negative about you on here, I still love her, all of y'all. LOL. And I think that opinion, spreads for the rest of us. We just, if anything, the negative commentary is actually just because we love you more.
Yeah. Tell
We're
me.
just trying to show our support.
I know I'm kind of lost on
I,
the shorts too. I'm
I
sorry.
think it's because like the fit of the shorts that she wears
Okay.
in games, I
Okay.
think. But
Can't
I'm
speak to that.
Classic Stang Lover, you're gonna have to give us
Help us out.
another,
Yeah.
yeah, send us another message. You don't even have to pay for it this time and just tell us what you mean by the Tommy Pickle shorts because I'm a little confused. You know who Tommy Pickle is, right, Dorothy?
No, I said I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
that's a
old.
Rugrats character
Who?
from the Rugrats.
Oh,
He's like
okay.
the
Guys, I'm
main, he's the
sorry.
bald boy. Yeah.
I'm
No,
so much
I'm
older
glad that
than
I
y'all.
realized you didn't know what it meant though, because that makes it even better. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he's saying
I
that
mean pickles.
Louisa wears her
What?
shorts like a diaper.
Okay. Oh, all right. I got it. Hey, sorry. It took me a minute. Showing
That's
my
okay.
age here.
We
Oh,
got there
Rugrats Tommy with a
eventually.
diaper. Thank you. Uh, that's
Oh
funny.
man.
Now,
Well, I'm
now I
glad we
can't
could
unsee
educate you on
that.
a yeah, we're gonna educate you on a few things every episode, and today just happened to be the Rugrats. So I'm glad we got that in.
But
It's
now I can't
important
unsee it.
education. Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow now I'm gonna look for those diaper shorts. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. So
Thanks.
Dorothy and I both have a win tomorrow versus the
Yeah.
Indiana
Yeah.
Fever. And
Yeah.
then on Tuesday, they're going to head to New York to take on New York in New York. Uh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to have them losing this game in a
Me,
dramatic
me
fashion.
too.
It's probably not going to be close. Again, this is going to be probably the second game that New York is playing with Emma Mieseman. So there
Hmm.
are going to be some growing pains, but
Yeah.
we're
Fit right into
talking
the
about
system.
an, an MVP caliber player here
Right.
entering their already, 3 MVP system that they have going on in New York.
Yeah.
So I do think
Yeah.
there's going to be a little growing pains, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about if you're a Liberty fan. So I think it's safe to say that the Dallas Wings are probably going to lose that game.
I agree. And mostly because of the lick back you said. I'm sorry. That was so funny. But I agree. But
And
then
then,
Liberty,
yep.
come home. Well, come to our house now. What, three
And I'm
days
gonna
later?
say it, I think they're also gonna lose that game,
You
unfortunately,
think
for
they'll
my
lose?
mentality. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
The
it's pretty
mayor is
rare that I
hating.
pick the Wings. I know. I almost always pick the Wings to win at home, but this is one
Yeah.
of those games that I just can't in good conscience take the Wings. It's
Think that they're
tough.
going to win again?
I hope they are listening and that comment did piss them off and that they are mad. And so then they come out and it's the lick back against Erica game, you know? I
Yeah.
hope that's exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
I think I'll take the Wings on the 8th, that home game Friday back home.
Okay. And then back Sunday, back home versus the Washington Mystics.
Yeah.
I'm taking them to win this game. In the game that they lost to them in 6-2 earlier in the season, it was that overtime loss. And
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, the Wings had that game. It was there. It was
Yes.
in their hands. And they just let it go. And I hope that at this point in the season, the Wings have learned some lessons about end of game execution. So I think it's going
Right.
to be a victory versus the Mystics.
I agree too. Being able to close those games, play a full 4 quarters. I'll take a
And then
W
they
too.
go to Indiana on Tuesday, August 12th. I'm going to say it. I'm taking the Wings to win that game as well.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the first real Caitlin Clark Paige Bueckers rematch in the WNBA. So I think there's going to be
Yeah.
a real level of drama there. And then I think on top of it, you're going to see Paige play one of her best games in a Wings uniform this season. The only game maybe better is that one she played in Phoenix where she had 32. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, if Caitlin's back by August 12th, yeah, that would be interesting to see her and Paige against each other. So I say, you said Wings.
I'm taking the Wings.
I'm gonna take the Fever. I'm gonna take the Fever.
And then they will host the
Those the
Los Angeles
Sparks.
Sparks.
Yep.
And I tried to think about this about a Cameron Brink Paige Beckers matchup when they were in college,
Yeah.
and I don't think it exists. I could be wrong on that. So someone in the comments, you'll have to correct me if Stanford and UConn ever did match up in college and they did play each other. But I'm
Yeah.
real excited for that game. I think
Me
the Kelsey
too.
Plum of it all, the Paige Beckers,
Right.
Erika, and then you got the added layer and drama of Rakia and Cam in the game. I just think it's
Yes.
going to be a really, really fun game. And I think it's going to be one of those games where both teams are fighting tooth and nail for an opportunity to stay in the chase for the playoffs.
Right. To kind of
And
move,
so
yeah,
it's
move
going
up
to
in the
be a really
standings.
close game. And
Yeah.
but I do think the Wings will take it.
But they lost last time, and Cameron and them wasn't playing. So, um, mm, okay, Wings have won that game as well.
Period.
Cameron
Bark, bark,
Brinks and
bark.
all of them is fine. Yeah.
This
And
game
the
brings me
Aces.
great pain to bring up because I specifically picked them to beat the Aces this past weekend, and they just completely squabbled
What
versus the
happened?
Aces. It was
I
a
know.
disgusting, disgusting appearance. That's all you can really say about that game is that it was disgusting. Um,
Afternoon game,
man,
2:30. I'm looking at factors like, is it an afternoon game? Do they play the day before? They're traveling. Is it morning? Is it in the evening? This is a 2:30 game, so
I'm gonna take the Wings. I think at
Wings
that time the Aces will have cemented their position, kind of maybe in that fifth,
because
sixth spot,
this, yeah, they're still trying to figure it
and
out.
they look a mess, but that's okay. They got Becky Hammon and Asia Wilson. Their
Yeah,
mess won't matter till the playoffs,
that's
and
true.
then they'll hopefully ruin someone's life that isn't the Phoenix Mercury.
Cameron Brink and Paige Beckers played against each other in the Final Four.
Oh, this year?
Oh
This year?
no,
No, in
I was gonna say
2022.
I don't remember that. Okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
no, dang, and they missed each other the opportunity to play each other in 2021. Ask me how
Mm-hmm.
Paige
I
with 14,
know.
Cameron with 15.
Yeah. Oh, period. Did Cam foul out of the game, Elijah?
Stand by. Let's see.
He's gonna check and
Okay,
see.
I'll be waiting. But then they go play the Sparks in LA. I'm gonna take, and this is the Wednesday, 7 p.m. or at least I think it'll be 6 p.m. in LA.
Okay, so when
So 3 p.m. or wait, that's is it? It's later for you guys. I'm not smart. So 10 p.m. for 8 p.m.
it'll be probably 9. Wait,
Oh my gosh, what a terrible start
yes.
time for you guys.
So
Um,
they're Aces Sunday, and then what day?
on Wednesday the 20th, so 3 days later, they'll play in
Days, 3
LA.
days. Okay.
She didn't foul out, but she had 4 fouls.
She was close. I knew she
Yep.
was in foul trouble. Versus the Aces, I'm sorry, the Sparks in LA. I'm gonna take the Sparks.
Sparks.
And then they go on a little 3 game homestand where they
Yeah.
have to face off Seattle on Friday,
Woo.
which Seattle is a weird opponent right now because they have definitely not looked good since the All-Star break. I mean,
That's true.
considering they literally lost to the Wings to open the All-Star break in a very dramatic fashion.
That's true.
I think the Storm looks a little messy right now, but I think by that time the Storm will probably have figured it out, and the Storm probably take the win over the Spark or over the Wings. Oh my goodness
And in that
gracious!
game, Skylar wasn't playing in that game
Yeah,
as well. Um, I'm gonna say the Storm too.
man, this stinks. And then Golden State, which they have to play Golden State 2 more times to round out the season, which really stinks. I'll be honest with you. It's almost as terrible as having to play the Sparks 3 times. Um,
Hmm. But look what happened to
Golden,
Kayla Thornton.
true, true.
She's
That's a
out
good point,
for the
actually.
season, and she
So it's
was
a 1 p.m.
she was
game
their all
in,
star. Mm-hmm.
uh-huh. 1 p.m. game in Dallas versus the Golden State Valkyries. I'm taking Dallas for the points that you just made.
Yeah, I am too. I'm looking. Yeah, I am
Breaking.
too.
Paige
1
is looking for a
p.m.
dog.
That's camp game. Yeah,
Who's looking
I
for
am
a
too.
dog?
Paige. She's looking for dog breeders in Dallas. Sorry, unbasketball related, but
I know a girl that has a lot of dogs, and she could come select anytime. I got a new puppy this week, Dorothy.
Oh.
I over the 4th of July, I fostered 7 dogs. They were taken away from me. God robbed
Oh.
them from me. It's a long story. It was very traumatizing. So my roommate and I decided we were done fostering and we were gonna go adopt this darn puppy. And so we got him. I know Paige would want him, so
What's
I
his
maybe I
name?
should just hold him to myself. His name was supposed to be Gino, and we switched it to Juno because
Okay.
he looks like a little old man. He looks just like Gino Ariema. Like when I look at him, I just see Gino yelling at Paige. And unfortunately, we changed his name because the dude is just not very. I don't want to call him stupid, but he's out there eating these beans that they fall off the tree, and I just know Gino would never do that.
Oh
Gino
my
would
gosh.
never ever eat beans like that.
But
He's
Juno
not
would.
dumb. He's not. Juno would
Juno would,
exactly.
yeah.
Juno Bean Day, yeah. Juno Bean Day would eat those dang beans. So yeah,
Oh,
his
I
middle
loved it.
name he gave it to himself since he can't only eat dog kibble. Okay, but we got to round this out.
Okay.
Connecticut at home on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Actually, that's 5 p.m. my time, so 7 p.m. your time.
We
I am
gotta
going to
win.
take the Wings. If
I
the
was gonna
Wings
say
don't win that
wings.
game, I'm
Yeah,
gonna have a conniption.
I know.
Um,
I agree.
and that's no slight to Connecticut. Connecticut, I actually think gets not enough credit for being not as bad as their record is.
Yeah.
But Atlanta, that'll be at 2:30 Dallas time on a Friday. I'm gonna take Atlanta.
It's 6:30. I
Hmm.
know the time zones. Yeah. I'm gonna take Atlanta too.
And then in Minnesota at
Oh
7
gosh.
p.m. Well, no,
Links.
5 p.m. Yeah, Lynx. But then, okay, I'm gonna say it. They're gonna end the season with a 3 game win streak versus the Golden State at home. And I mean in Golden State,
Envy.
LA in LA, and then I hate to
Your
say it
kid.
about my squad. I know.
Yes.
Flip that, if you will. They will beat the Phoenix Mercury to close out the season. I
I
don't
say
think
so
that's the
too.
Mercury's last game of the season either. So I think it doesn't screw me as much as I think, but let's see. Yeah,
And we have
see? Oh, it is the last game of the season. Darn it. What?
it is for September 11th. Yeah.
I got played. I thought they played the Storm to end out the season. This is close the
I got
computer, cancel the show. This is terrible news. Ugh. But okay,
Oh,
I think the record we just gave gets the Wings into ninth at worst
see.
spot and
Yeah.
eighth at best.
8. Yeah. That would give them how
If
many
they can
wins on the
end the
season?
season,
17. They're 8 now. 17?
Elijah, were you keeping track of what we said?
Because I was trying to. 17 or 18
I
wins.
definitely was not. I was listening as a spectator.
We have to go back. We have it on
I
tape.
was doing the Wings defense.
We have it
Yeah,
on tape.
well,
We can go back.
It's okay. Yeah, I do think it is at worst 9 and at best 8th. I bet someone
Yeah.
in the chat was keeping track.
I was just thinking
Um,
that too. I have to go back because I want to. Yeah,
It's okay though, but I do think the Wings are in a good spot. I think
I
Dorothy and
do.
I gave you a ton of reasons today why the Wings are in a good spot. Look at that Slam article behind you. They don't write Slam magazines about teams that are terrible. Be serious. So
I
I think it's a yeah.
hang in
They
there,
don't give
Wings
Gatorade
fans.
right. They don't give Gatorade flavors to bad players. They don't give Slam covers to bad teams. So jokes on you guys. But we've done great work today, Dorothy. I really appreciate you not blowing me off because I was kind of sad
No.
last week without you. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
I'm sorry. I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
I forgive
Much love.
you. Don't worry. We'll make up for it because there's gonna be tons of more episodes come throughout the end of the season. We got 16 games left to
Yay.
go, and hopefully maybe a
Woo.
little playoff run to talk about there at the end of
Hey,
it all. So
never
I'm
know.
optimistic. Dorothy and I are going to continue to have a lot of fun here on the DLS Wings podcast. So be sure to tap in with us wherever you get your podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
We all silly like the mayor.